In 2023, I travelled to the Indonesian island of Sumatra in search of its incredible biodiversity. While venturing into Sumatra's last remaining forests, I encountered an array of beautiful and bizarre species. Some are the most unique and mighty of their kind, while others are found nowhere else on Earth. And some are among the most endangered species that exist today. This is Sumatra. Bukit Lawang, a village on the edge of the Leuser ecosystem in North Sumatra, is where my search for reptiles and amphibians began. The forest surrounding the village, as well as the village itself, is renowned as a good place to find an array of amazing herpetofauna. The Sumatra Eco Project is based in Bukit Lawang, and many animals are rescued from people's properties by this organisation, including snakes, such as this highly venomous equatorial spitting cobra. There's a high chance that this snake would have been killed out of fear by the locals, so relocating it to the forest is often the best outcome. This is a species that thrives in villages due to the rodent prey that human populations tend to attract, and having a local snake rescue team is highly valuable to the snakes and the community. Before its release, I had the opportunity to interact with the snake, and it was remarkably placid. What an experience to handle my first cobra. While staying at the Sumatra Eco Project Lodge, reptiles would sometimes stroll through the grounds in search of food, such as this impressive Asian water monitor, which had a missing foot. How it lost its foot, I don't know. Perhaps this was an injury resulting from a territorial battle with another monitor lizard. Or perhaps a near escape from a predator when it was younger. Or maybe even a poacher's trap. It looks like an old injury, which healed a long time ago. This is a fine example of how tough these animals really are, and how they've survived for tens of millions of years on this planet. At around 4.5 feet in length, this impressive lizard has a strong sense of smell, being able to detect scent from kilometers away, using its forked tongue to reel in scent molecules from the air. These molecules are then transferred to an organ in the roof of the mouth, which then sends information to the brain. Like the cobra, this is a species that is often attracted to human habitation, hunting or scavenging whatever it can find. A morning walk around the jungle on the edge of Bukit Lawang can reveal diurnal reptiles. A green, stealthy figure caught my eye in the understory, peering back at me with large horizontal pupils. It was a gorgeous oriental vine snake, a juvenile. This species is one of the most familiar Southeast Asian snakes to herpetologists, and it is always a pleasure to find. It was likely hunting for lizards and other small vertebrates, using its acute binocular vision. Although this individual is small, it has the potential to reach 2 meters in length. Hiking further along this trail revealed one of the most iconic Southeast Asian reptiles. Entwined in the foliage 2 meters above the ground, a large female Vagler's pit viper was in plain sight. What a stunning animal. It hasn't taken long at all to see one of the most iconic Southeast Asian snakes. This large female Wagler's pit viper has been living in this village for quite a while, it seems, and as with most species of snake in this genus, they tend not to move for prolonged periods of time. So you can often come back to the same location and they'll be exactly where you found them for weeks on end. The common name of this snake refers to Johann Georg Vagler, a German naturalist from the 18th century. He made early contributions to our knowledge of herpetofauna and birds, before his life ended at the age of 32 after accidentally shooting himself on a hunting trip. Finding large ones like this is not particularly easy. The species is very common around here, but we often find juveniles and males which are much smaller. But I mean, look at this animal. Without doubt, one of the most stunning snakes I've seen. This species is sometimes referred to as Vagler's temple viper, due to its abundance in and around the Temple of the Azure Clouds in Penang, Malaysia. This is one of several snake species inhabiting the temple and its grounds, which are believed to be reincarnated disciples in Buddhism. Vagler's pit viper is adaptable here, and can be found in urban environments. I soon found this male close by, using barbed wire as his perch, next to a shed. Like the monitor lizard, he explores his world using a forked tongue to reel in scent molecules from the air, a trait shared among all snakes. This species is sexually dimorphic, with males being much smaller than females and often boasting this pale green coloration. Pit vipers are so named due to their heat-sensitive pits, which are located between the eye and the nostril. These pits can detect the heat signature of small mammals and other prey, enabling the snake to accurately strike its target, even in total darkness. A storm loomed over the village, and this rainforest habitat was about to live up to its name. For the viper, this is an opportunity to hydrate, drinking droplets from leaves and its own body. The rain also draws out amphibians, which many snake species will hunt later in the evening. Later that night, I was able to film this subadult Vagler's pit viper, which goes through a different colour phase to the adult stage of its life, boasting a vibrant green with striking red and white bands. The colour is beginning to change on the face of this individual, indicating it is close to adulthood. Due to its size and stocky proportions, I would assume this is a female. Indonesia is the biggest exporter of palm oil in the world, and Sumatra is at the forefront of this. The devastation that the excessive palm oil industry has inflicted on native rainforest was evident. It was a sad sight indeed to drive for hours through palm oil plantations where immensely biodiverse rainforest used to be. Although intensive palm oil agriculture holistically has damaged Sumatra's ecosystem, some species can survive within the plantations and their perimeters. While searching for herpetofauna on the edge of a palm oil plantation at night, I saw a range of widespread species, including the oriental garden lizard, Calotes versicolor, the common bronzeback snake, Dendrolathus pictus,
amazing blue,
the impressive western mangrove cat snake, Boiga melanota, which always has a feisty attitude. These striking snakes are venomous, with fangs located towards the back of the mouth, a trait shared with many other species in the Colubridae family. The venom contains a component called denmotoxin, which has a particularly potent effect on the muscles of birds, which constitutes a large portion of the snake's diet. Although the venom is not lethal to humans, a bite can cause pain and fatigue to varying degrees in different people. Some theories suggest that the yellow bands provide excellent camouflage in dappled sunlight during the day. Others suggest that the colours are aposematic, advertising a warning to potential predators. Some of the streams that flow through palm oil plantations are inhabited by the bizarre Malayan soft-shell turtle. As the name suggests, the shell is rubbery and flexible. This, combined with smooth, slippery skin, gives it the aura of an amphibian rather than a reptile. That elongated nose functions as a snorkel, and its hard-plated mouthparts are designed for crushing mollusks and small vertebrates in the water. The keeled slug-eating snake, Piraeus carinatus, can also make a living around palm oil plantations. This small, harmless snake has a specialized jaw for extracting snails from their shells, often hunting above ground in the foliage. Moving further away from the plantations and into the forest, different species started to appear. The attractive, scarce wolf snake, Lycodon ephrenus, was a fantastic sighting as it's one of the more seldom seen members of the Lycodon genus, and little is known about its ecology. I also encountered a fine example of the dog-toothed cat snake, Boiga cynodon, so called for its large front teeth. However, as with other Boiga species, venom is injected through fangs at the back of the mouth. In contrast to its close relative, the previously mentioned mangrove cat snake, it often has a placid demeanour. The brown rat snake, Taius fusca, is usually active during the day, but this one was found resting at night. This is a juvenile, as the species is capable of growing over 2 meters in length. It uses speed and acute vision to hunt down its prey, which usually consists of small vertebrates. Back in the village, I was amazed to see this 8-lined kukri snake, Oligodon octolineatus, on somebody's patio. This species resembles the highly venomous Malayan banded coral snake, Caliophis intestinalis, which is a fine example of Batesian mimicry, whereby an organism mimics a dangerously venomous or poisonous species for protection against predators. At first glance, it certainly fooled me. Although not lethally venomous to humans, kukri snakes are named after the kukri knife, a curved blade originating from the Indian subcontinent. This refers to the similar shape and extreme sharpness of the enlarged teeth towards the back of the snake's mouth, which can inflict a nasty bloody bite when defending itself. I was also able to see more Vagler's pit vipers. And, in a nearby cave, enormous Scutagera centipedes. They have surprisingly complex compound eyes for an animal that is active in total darkness, and they move at lightning speed. Other impressive myriapods were common in the area, including this striking Scolopendra centipede. An unexpected find in this cave was the blue-throated litter skink, a species that is often associated with leaf litter on the forest floor, but here it was scaling the rock formations in the cave. One morning, I decided to join local guide Chi-Chi on a hike through some of the most pristine forested hills in the area. Although we were specifically looking for orangutans, I kept my eyes peeled for reptiles. It wasn't long until we were greeted by the jittery movements of an unmistakable lizard. It was a gliding lizard, specifically what appears to be Draco sumatranus. Members of the Draco genus are renowned for their ability to glide through the air over impressive distances through the habitat. Their mobile ribs extend stretchy flaps of skin called patagia, which perform like wings. While males are putting on a territorial display, the patagia are also extended, as well as a colourful flag-like structure on the throat, known as a dewlap. This male is doing exactly that, with additional push-ups. Venturing further into this incredible forest, I soon realised we were under the watchful eyes of dragons.
We've bumped into some really impressive lizards, and there's one right behind me now. If you look up on that vine, right there in the top left.
My jaw dropped as this spectacular Sumatran forest dragon, Gonocephalus beischlagi, was surveying its surroundings from the vines above. This is a male, due to its impressive size and that prehistoric crest adorning its spine. It's a species that is only found in the Losa ecosystem of North Sumatra, and is without doubt one of the most remarkable lizards I've seen in the wild. As if this wasn't exhilarating enough, around 5 minutes later, I laid my eyes upon a female Sumatran forest dragon. She is exceedingly different to the male, smaller in size and mossy green in colour with black reticulations over her body. She also lacks the crest. She was just as beautiful in her own way. Being able to spend time with this little-known species in the wild was simply breathtaking. Moving deeper into the jungle, what I thought was a strange seed pod in the middle of the trail turned out to be something rather special. If you thought the soft-shelled turtle was bizarre, it now had a close contender. As I soon realized, I was holding a baby Asian spiny turtle, Hyosemes spinosa, caked in soil after emerging from a muddy retreat. Young specimens of this species are armed with prominent spines around the edge of the shell, providing protection against predators during this vulnerable stage of life. As the turtle grows and becomes an adult, the spines will fade. This species is an important seed disperser, feeding on fruits that fall to the ground from the canopy, and then transporting the seeds in their feces as they move through the forest. What a joy to find this exquisite animal under the inquisitive gaze of Sumatran icons. In addition to palm oil, Indonesia is one of the biggest producers of rice in the world, and extensive rice paddies are a common sight in the country. Over 50 million tons of rice is produced every year in Indonesia, and it's no wonder, as it's a significant part of almost every meal here. Rice paddies are inhabited by an array of herpetofauna, and so I decided to explore this monoculture at night to see what I could find. The nearby village seemed to be in party mode that night, as electronic music bellowed. Rice is often grown in shallow water, and amphibians are abundant here, including this Asian ricefield frog. The amphibians attract an array of snake species, including this impressive Malayan racer, Colognathus flavolineatus. We found this snake on the move, probably hunting the frogs that we had seen in the paddies. This is a widespread and non-venomous species of lowland forest, which has adapted well to agriculture. While dodging the massive webs of Nephila spiders along the narrow walkways of the paddies, another snake species started to show itself in abundance. Meet the puff-faced water snake, Homolopsis buccata. Spending most of its time in the water, it mostly hunts fish and amphibians in a range of aquatic habitats. Although mildly venomous to humans, its venom, which is injected through rear fangs, is more effective on its prey. Juveniles are heavily banded with more contrasting coloration. This one was hunting in the irrigation system. These snakes started to appear in all directions, and moments later, I soon realized something special was unfolding before my eyes. As a large female cruised through the water in her swampy surroundings, multiple males seemingly appeared from nowhere and began to smother her in the pursuit to mate. Her bulky head would occasionally break the surface of the water to breathe, closely followed by the smaller heads of the males. The eye stripes of this species are beautiful. I noticed that the males would occasionally vibrate their heads at the surface, creating a radiating ripple in the water, like sonar waves. Whether this was territorial communication to the other males, or a friendly message to the female, I'm not sure. But it was certainly interesting to watch. Most snakes have internal ear structures which are capable of processing vibrational information, including these ripples in the water. After watching this scene for around half an hour, the female vanished into the undergrowth, closely followed by the males, and it all went quiet. A different female appeared, but she seemed focused on hunting. This fish was quick to get out of her way. This was all remarkable behaviour to observe, while surrounded by the bustle of the village.
Him and he look at it, and then we just grab it in that time.
Back at the Sumatra Eco Project Lodge, one of the largest snakes in the world is being relocated. This reticulated python was unwelcome on somebody's land, where it would probably end up eating farm animals, damaging the livelihood of the landowner. Although a rare occurrence, a snake of this size is capable of taking a child, and so people kill these snakes out of fear. However, the reticulated python is an important predator in Sumatra's ecosystem, and so it must be protected. Relocating these pythons far away from people is often the best outcome for the locals and this awe-inspiring reptile. It was great to see a large specimen of the reticulated python, but I was determined to find one in the native forests of Sumatra, and so I set out on a hike into the forested hills far away from the village. I would search at night when the pythons are most active. Along the way, I appreciated the greater diversity and abundance of amphibians up here. They were inhabiting a network of streams. Immersed in the chorus of the Sumatran jungle and the roar of the waterfall, I panned my torch to the right, revealing a shimmering shape in the shadows, which had bright orange eyes. It could only be one animal. A reticulated python in its natural habitat. Amazing! So we've just been hiking in the jungle, and we came across this amazing waterfall in the hills of Bukit Lawang. And these waterfalls are known to have pretty big pythons. And we've just come across this amazing snake waiting in ambush for prey next to one of these forest pools. Isn't that just one of the most beautiful things we've seen? Wonderful iridescent head and large eyes. The tongue is flicking now, so I have to be a little bit careful because I'm probably giving off a heat signature. These pythons can detect heat through these pits on their upper lip. But this snake must be about 4 meters long. and it's absolutely incredible. This is the record, or has the record, for being the longest snake in the world. Many people think it's the anaconda, but that's the heaviest. In terms of length, these are unmatched, and some monsters can reach 6 or 7 meters. In 1912, American explorer Henry Raven reported a 10-meter reticulated python while exploring the Indonesian island of Sulawesi. However, this is based on anecdotal information from miners on the island at the time, and an unclear photograph. No official measurements of the snake were taken, and so a 10-meter long python is therefore an unreliable claim. Unfortunately, this statistic has circulated on the internet, leading to a lot of misinformation. Of course, this isn't that big, but it's equally just as impressive to see it in ambush in the wild, waiting for a mammal to walk past. These snakes occasionally do eat people, but those are the real monsters, 6 or 7 meters, and you can imagine a snake that size and a person walking past could potentially be a target from one of these. In addition to being feared by locals, these pythons are exploited for their beautiful skin to make fashion items, to be sold in the pet trade, and, in some cultures, certain body parts are used for traditional medicine. These snakes are also on the menu for the indigenous Batak tribes in Sumatra. Despite this relentless pressure, they still remain a relatively common species in Southeast Asia. This is likely due to their amazing adaptability, as they are quite at home in urban and agricultural areas, as well as their native forest habitat. Also, if you look closely, you will see a large tick attached to the snake's upper lip. Pythons often carry these parasites, sometimes infested with them. An amazing sight to see one of these in situ, untouched, going about his business. Now I think we'll take some photos and enjoy this moment. In the next episode, I'll be heading deeper into Sumatra's Losa ecosystem, where I'll be camping in the jungle. Here, I'll be tracking down a rather unique viper, among other exquisite reptiles and amphibians, as well as some bizarre invertebrates.